So good morning everyone. Welcome to Raj Malhotra IAS. So guys, here we are about to start the session. Welcome to Raj Malhotra IAS. So Mohit, Pranjal, Priyanka, Vicky, Pooja, Ajay, Musina, Vivek, Santosh, Rahul, Aarti, Caps, good morning. So I will be uploading the PDF for today's session. Just give me a minute. The PDF will be available to you on our Telegram group. You can download it from there. And this is the standard practice that we have. We provide the PDF in advance so that you can revise the content that is there in the PDF along with the session. तो session के साथ साथ आप उस content को भी पढ़ सके. This is the reason why we are providing things in advance, and that's the reason why we do take more time. Okay, because you have to prepare the whole document. So here we are about to start. So friends, again I would like to tell you this thing. We will be starting up with public administration courses, and along with that for 4 days I will be on leave from Monday to Thursday. I'll try my level best to cover the Hindu content. Either it will be, you can say, provided to you as a recorded session, because the live session might not be possible. Though I will try my level best. If I get the internet connectivity, then definitely there will be live sessions that we will conduct. But the place that where I'm going to visit, it is very unlikely that internet connectivity might not be there. Okay, so this is the point. This is the point that you have to understand. So that's the genuine, you can say, sometimes we do have to take breaks. So here we have this particular, you can say, quote of Vivekananda on screen. Okay, so it is saying that arise, awake, stop not until the goal is reached. This is the approach that you should have. This is the approach that you should have. This is the approach. This is the approach that you have to follow, even in your preparation as well. Even in your preparation, you should be following this particular point. You should be following this particular, you can say, just wait a minute. So Vivekananda is one such personality, like, who influences all, and specifically the youth of this country. So he has come out with the valuable lessons that we have. Okay, now, like, there should be a restlessness in your mind. Restlessness that I am talking about should be on the positive note. Okay, we should not feel, you can say, relaxed and saying that अरे बाद में कर लेंगे. This attitude doesn't work in life, neither in the UPSC preparation nor anywhere else. Whatever you may be doing in your life, you need to have that, you can say, not aggression, but you need to have that thirst in you that you want to achieve something in your life. Without that, it is very difficult to achieve your goals. Okay, so here he is saying that arise, awake yourself. The real strength is within you. The knowledge is within you. You have to just understand that particular knowledge, that particular point. This is what he has said. And if you are following this particular, you can say, his mantras in your life, it is going to have really positive impact in your life. That's the lesson that we have from Swami Vivekananda. So here we'll start the session now. Let's see what exactly is there for us. Okay, so here we have this news, and this is your front page. It is saying that Ishwarappa to submit the resignation today. Okay, so this is something have happened in Karnataka, as one of the minister was responsible, a senior leader, he was responsible for the suicide of a contractor. Okay, suicide of a contractor. So that's the point. That's why, like, this alarming things are coming up here, and definitely these things should not happen. These things should not happen. Okay, specifically our leaders, because people look up to them. If they are behaving all in this way, definitely it will have a bad impact on the society. So it definitely has bad impact on the society. Okay, and it's a good thing. It's a good thing that he has resigned, because otherwise he would have used the power to influence the whole investigation process. So it is very important that he has been removed, and it's a right thing to do here. Okay. So here we have this news. Now we'll move to the next part. In the next news, it's about IMD forecast, normal monsoon, no El Nino. IMD forecast, normal monsoon, no El Nino. Okay. So here are few things that you have to understand. Now when you talk about monsoon, specifically in the context of Indian subcontinent, it plays really very important role. Important role in the sense specifically for the agrarian economy. Okay. अगर आप agrarian economy के हिसाब से देखें, so definitely we still rely on monsoon, because 50% of the cultivated land in India is still rain fed. वो अभी भी रेन्स के ऊपर डिपेंडेंट है. इट मीन्स दैट वी डोंट हैव अ प्रॉपर इरीगेशन फैसिलिटीज टू दिस पर्टिकुलर 50% irrigated, 50% cultivated area. Now in this case, we should know about these particular points, that monsoon winds, they are not just confined to the South Asian region. It has its impacts till the coast of Japan. Okay, Japan तक इनका impact visible होता है. And you should know about this point as well. Basically, the reason for the existence of monsoon winds are primarily the hot pressure, the low pressure or the hotness of Tibetan plateau, which creates that low pressure. And we know this thing, winds blow from high pressure to low pressure. So as this Tibetan plateau heats up, definitely the low pressure is created and winds start moving from sea part to the land part. Okay, high pressure to low pressure. This is what happens. And while traveling in this direction, they pick moisture from the sea. वो sea से moisture pick करते हैं वो. And later on that develops into rains. और उससे जो है पूरे इंडिया के अंदर and other parts of the, you can say, South Asia, they receive rain during this particular time. Okay, this is the fact that you should know. And we know that monsoon is the lifeline. And in the earlier time, even the sea, even the ships, they used to follow the monsoon route. Okay, वो भी इसी के through ही follow करते थे. Now you need to understand one thing, like this monsoon winds, they come when the rainy part is over. There is also a retreat of monsoon. Okay, there is also a retreat of monsoon in the later months. आप ये लगा के चलो कि अक्टूबर के बाद retreat start होता है. And during this retreat, this monsoon wind, it is going back. Okay, वापिस जा रही है वो. And during this particular time, as you see the eastern coast of India, specifically if you see the Tamil Nadu coast and some parts of Andhra Pradesh and Andaman Nicobar. Okay, so during this particular retreat of monsoon, when monsoon winds are going back, again while going back, they may pick some moisture from Bay of Bengal. Okay, and picking up that moisture from Bay of Bengal, it develops into rains on the eastern part, or specifically the eastern coast in Tamil Nadu and in some parts of Andhra Pradesh and areas. So this is the other thing that you should know. Okay, retreat of monsoon hota hai, and primarily this particular rain, they occur in the months of November, October. Okay, so उस time पे majorly बारिश होती है इस particular part में. So ये थोड़ा हमें आइडिया होना चाहिए, ठीक है ना. Now we'll move to the another concept, because this news was talking about El Nino year. Okay, now El Nino concept also we have to understand. So here this particular slide is showing that this is the normal year, and during the normal year you can easily figure it out. The western part of Pacific Ocean, this is the western part of Pacific Ocean. During the normal times it heats up. It means that this particular area will be having the warm ocean water. Warm ocean water hota hai, and moisture is available, water vapor is available. And as I told you, like if this is available, water vapors, moistures are available, and monsoon winds will be like this only. Okay, so they will be picking up that moisture and it will have decent normal rain here. Now what happens during the El Nino year? This is the anomaly. Okay, during the El Nino year, the eastern part of Pacific Ocean, okay, near the coast of South American coast, that area gets heat up. वो area गर्म हो जाता है. And what happens because of that? As we know, the movement is from high pressure to low pressure, and there that region has low pressure. So if you talk about oceanic current, if you talk about wind direction, it starts moving in that direction, and the South American coast, it receives lot of rainfall during the El Nino year. And right now as they are receiving rains, okay, हमारे यहाँ पे जो है कमी हो जाती है, हमारे यहाँ पे कमी हो जाती है, ठीक है ना. So here like there will be some cold water that will be there, and because of this the monsoon cycle in India and Indian subcontinent is badly impacted, and during the El Nino year we receive poor rainfall. हमारे यहाँ पे जो बारिश होगी वो बहुत ही कम होगी, okay, during the El Nino year. So this is what you have to understand. This is what you have to understand. So, but here the IMD is saying that this time like things are going to be normal. We will receive decent rainfall. Okay, so no issues with that. No issues with that. So we'll move to the next part now. आगे चलते हैं, देखते हैं. So Delhi government to issue new COVID guidelines for schools. We know this particular fact that in some of the states, in some of the areas, the COVID cases are again coming up, and definitely in Delhi as well, specifically in some schools, some cases have been reported. Okay. Other than that, MP's panel lend voice against elephant trade. Okay. Now this is really very important. Important in the sense that there was a bill that was introduced. Okay. So Wildlife Protection Amendment Bill 2021 that was introduced to basically make some changes in the Wildlife Protection Act. And one of the, you can say, component of this particular bill was that it completely bans the animal trade, okay, but it is putting an exception only for elephant. Elephant के ऊपर exception ये डालने का सोच रहे हैं. It means that the trade of elephants, captive elephants, not the wild ones, the captive elephants, it will be allowed. But definitely we should not promote such things, okay, because otherwise what people will start doing, they will start hunting for the wild elephants, and they will consider it as a product to be sold in the market. Okay, तो ये कुछ चीज़ है जो यहाँ पे डर हमें सता रहा है, and definitely that's why suggestion has been made to not to come out with this type of change. So we have section 43 of this particular act, which clearly states no person having in possession captive animal article, trophy, in respect of which he has certificate of ownership, shall transfer by the way of sale or offer for sale or any other mode of consideration of commercial nature. तो बिल्कुल भी जो existing legal provision है वो बिल्कुल allow नहीं करता है. Okay, so ये point आपको समझना है यहाँ पे. So we'll move to the next part now. आगे चलते हैं, देखते हैं और क्या है यहाँ पे. So directly we'll move to the editorial section. सीधा editorial section पे जाएंगे and we'll try to figure it out what it is saying. Okay. So here we have this editorial, restore India's heritage of a shared peoplehood. So here it is pointing towards few things that like India has witnessed multiple riots in the history, and that event somehow damages the, you can say, social fabric of the society. आपकी society के social fabric को वो यहाँ पे ज़रूर damage करते हैं. Okay, so social fabric of the society is damaged. So that's the point you have to understand. Now what they are coming out with this, in this editorial, he's saying that like we know that our society experience multiple divides. So you have caste divides, you have religion divide, you have region divide. Okay, regional lines, religious lines, we have a division in the society. And like Hindu Muslim divides, it is growing new, and proportion is increasing over the time, because we know that some sort of intolerance is there, and polarization is also increasing for the political needs, or you can say through the misuse of social media, the polarization is also increasing. So that's the point you have to understand, and all these developments are impacting your social fabric. And when I say social fabric, it means that internally we are becoming weaker. Okay, now when you as a country, as a nation, you are weak, definitely your enemies will take benefit of it. Okay, and they will exploit your fragmentations that are there in the society. वो अपने benefit के लिए आपके society के अंदर जो divisions हैं उनको exploit करेंगे. Okay, and this is how they do. Now, in the history, if you see, Mahatma Gandhi, he has really fought many battles, and one of the battle that he fought was for Hindu-Muslim unity. So, in 1924, there was a terrible Hindu-Muslim riot, okay, and that scared the Muslim majority district of Kohat in the northwestern frontier province. Gandhi went on a 21-day fast in Delhi by the way of penance, okay. तो प्राश्चित के रूप में इन्होंने फास्ट किया था. Now this is the, you can say, content for your prelims exam. ये prelims exam के लिए एक तरीके से content है. But the point that we have to understand, in the present time, in the modern times, we don't see such type of sacrifice and such type of seriousness amongst our leaders to fight against the religious or communal tensions, okay. आपको कहीं भी कुछ नजर नहीं आएगा. So here in this editorial, like, he is saying that courts must step in, because you don't expect executive and legislature to, you know, do something like that, because they are the beneficiary of all these things. आपके यहाँ पे सरकारें religious lines पे voting की वजह से बनती हैं, and there is a tendency among your political class to polarize the environment just before the election. ऐसा वाक्य ही होता है, ठीक है ना. So that's why again in this editorial he is demanding that there should be court intervention. The only rescuer that is there for us is the court, is the judiciary. And here they are saying that, like, courts along with National Human Rights Commission, National Commission for Minorities, together they can uphold the constitutional spirit which has been mentioned in our preamble and in our constitutional provisions. वो चीज़ हमें करनी है. Then you should understand this point, that we know that in SR Bommai versus Union of India, the Supreme Court of India held that secularism is one of the basic feature of the constitution, okay. Secularism is one of the basic features of the constitution. So that's the point you have to understand. Okay. Now the other editorial that we have to discuss is regarding this particular point. A window for interstate collaboration to breathe easy. Okay. A window for interstate collaboration to breathe easy. Now here in this editorial, like, she is mentioning about a collaboration between, you can say, this time collaboration is possible as there is the same party which is ruling in Punjab and in Delhi. And this editorial is pointing towards one thing, that if they both decide, they can definitely deal with the problem of stubble burning, okay, because Punjab, the farmers are burning stubble, and this is one of the reason for pollution in Delhi, specifically in winters, okay. तो ये कुछ चीज़ें हैं जो यहाँ पे बताई हैं इन्होंने. So first of all, let me take you to the point here, that why do farmers are forced to burn the stubble? Farmers को क्यों stubble जलाना पड़ता है? What is the reason why they are still burning the stubble? So you need to understand one point here, that in the cropping cycle, okay, so as the kharif season gets over, it means that by the end of August, okay, you have to harvest your rice. आपको rice पूरा हटाना होगा, and by late September, by the end of August, or you can say early September, there will be harvesting that will be completed, and later you have to prepare your land for the rabi crop, okay. rabi crop के लिए आपको आपका land prepare करना होता है. So that window where you have to prepare your land is really very small, बहुत छोटा सा window है, okay. So it is very difficult for them to prepare the land. First of all, पहले उसको काटो, like जो rice stubble होता है उसको पहले काटोगे आप, then you will, you know, carry out multiple processes and all to prepare your land. But this time is really very inadequate, okay. So as there is shortage of time, the farmer prefers to burn the stubble in complete go, and this is what they follow. They burn the complete residue of the crop. सब कुछ जला डालते हैं, ठीक है ना. This is the point that is there. Now they are saying that as stubble burning is one of the reason for, you can say, pollution in Delhi, So both the states, they can come to some cooperation with each other, and specifically in some areas. First thing, that they must carry out talks, that as a team they can definitely fight out against stubble burning. Okay, so they have to come out with the common understanding that what is the source of pollution in the region. If Punjab is amongst the, you can say, burning of stubble is amongst the reason for, you can say, pollution in Delhi, definitely they have to do something. Then they are saying that create platforms for knowledgeable exchange. Okay, knowledge exchange के लिए भी आपको एक platform बनाना पड़ेगा, and you have to set up the knowledge center where you can discuss things, where you can come out with the solutions that are available. Okay, you can look into the implementation of those particular things. Another point that they are coming out with this is that both the states could go for co-design solutions. As a team आप चीज़ों को solve कर सकते हो, ठीक है ना? And as you are creating a facilitation, maybe creating a platform, maybe next time Haryana may also comes in. हरियाणा भी इसके अंदर आ सकता है, ठीक है? So this is the opportunity that we have. The first start can be made by Punjab and Delhi, as they have the same party government there. So this is what this editorial is pointing towards. Then they are saying that you have to create a market for diversified crop products. See, what's the reason why farmers are forced to only, you can say, grow rice and wheat? There has to be some reason. If some alternative is available to farmer, and that alternative is remunerative, अच्छा खासा पैसा देने वाला अगर कोई alternative हो, okay, और उस remuneration से farmer को थोड़ा benefit होता हो, so definitely farmer will move away from rice, ठीक है ना? That's the point. So you have to break this paddy wheat cycle, that have to be broken, and for that you have to incentivize farmer to grow other crops. बाकी crops उगाने के लिए आपको farmer को incentivize करना पड़ेगा. So that's the requirement here. As farmers don't have more alternatives, so they are forced to go for this paddy wheat cycle only. Okay, so आपको बाकी चीजें भी explore करनी पड़ेंगी. You have to provide, alternatives to farmer. So without that, definitely it is not possible to, go ahead with this. Now you need to understand. We'll move to the next editorial, and in next editorial it is talking about, is the Reserve Bank doing enough to rein in inflation? So I told you about this thing. You have Monetary Policy Committee, which have a target of 4 ± 2, okay, and Monetary Policy Committee decides the rates, okay, specifically the interest rates, etc. Now I told you about this point as well. As Reserve Bank increases the rates, okay, जो लोन के ऊपर इंटरेस्ट रखता है उसको रेट अगर इंक्रीज करता है रिजर्व बैंक, जिसको हम रेपो रेट भी बोल देते हैं, it will have impact on your economy, because increasing the rate means that the loans will become costly, okay, means the installments that are there, जब जो भी लोन ले रखे हैं लोगों ने, हाउसिंग हो, whether it is car loan, okay, so the installments, they are going to increase, the amount going to increase. It means that people will have less money in their hand. उनके हाथ में पैसा कम होगा, money in hand कम हो जाएगा, and when the money in hand goes down, definitely the demand also goes down. Demand भी कम हो जाएगी. So by this, you can say, by this method, RBI tries to control inflation. ये एक तरीका है. But here, if you see, specifically if you have observed RBI's Monetary Policy Committee's meetings and briefings, from last 2 times, RBI has not increased the interest rates. RBI ने interest rate increase नहीं किया है. Okay, what's the reason? Why it is not increasing the interest rate? The reason is this. Not increasing the interest rate, it means that RBI wants people to have money in their hand, okay, and should continue buying. So this is the way by which RBI supports the economic growth. आपके economic growth को support करता है RBI ऐसे, okay, because as people will have money, your economy will be boosting. जनता के हाथ में पैसा होगा तो वो इकोनॉमिक साइकिल को चलाएंगे. This is the point you have to understand. And this, you can say promotion, or you can say pumping of money, etc. by RBI is known as accommodative stance. तो accommodate कर रहा है RBI आपके यहाँ पे economic growth को by allowing people to have more money in their hands, okay, and they will buy and demand will pick up. So this is the idea that you have to understand. So there is a reason why RBI is not increasing the interest rate, and that reason has been provided here. So we know that right now the inflation is increasing in India, and in India, as you talk about inflation is increasing, primarily deal करते हैं हम food से, okay, because the poor section of the society will be badly hit if food inflation is increasing. Now the point that you have to understand, that you have a tolerance limit of 6%, that it should not increase, it should not go beyond 6%, okay, but this time it has been observed that it may breach this particular limit, okay. Now central bank's monetary policy committee, it decides the benchmarks of interest rates, okay, कि क्या करना होगा, interest rate बढ़ाना है कि घटाना है. And you need to know, globally if you see, different central banks, they are already increasing the interest rate, okay. And we know this, to fight against corona, as our economy was badly hit, RBI decreased the interest rate because at that time it was required. उस टाइम ज़रूरत थी कि लोन वगैरह सस्ते हो जाएं, बट इन द प्रेजेंट टाइम इट हैज़ बीन ऑब्जर्व्ड दैट ग्लोबल सेंट्रल बैंक्स, दे आर इंक्रीजिंग देयर इंटरेस्ट रेट्स, वो अपने इंटरेस्ट रेट को बढ़ा रहे हैं, बट RBI is not doing so. What's the reason? So here they are coming out with the reason that if you look into the inflation in the present time, there are different reasons for that inflation, okay, and those particular reasons are geopolitical uncertainty. We know that Ukraine-Russia crisis is going on, and that has led to the increase in oil prices. वहाँ से oil price आपका increase हुआ है, okay, Ukraine-Russia crisis. So the gentleman who is supporting this argument, who is supporting RBI's stance to not to increase the interest rate, says that things are not in our hand, okay. It is basically a supply side shock that is impacting the inflation. और RBI तो सिर्फ डिमांड को एड्रेस करेगा अगर इंटरेस्ट रेट बढ़ाएगा या घटाएगा तो. दिस इज द पॉइंट दे आर कमिंग आउट विद. एंड वी नो दैट इन चाइना अगेन लॉकडाउन्स हैव बीन ब्रॉट, वापस लॉकडाउन आ गए हैं. इट मीन्स दैट अगेन सप्लाई चेन इज इम्पैक्टेड, ग्लोबल सप्लाई चेन इज अगेन इम्पैक्टेड, ओके. So again they are saying that this is also a supply side, you can say, component. So you have a limited role in this. As this Ukraine-Russia war gets over, the oil prices will come down, नीचे आ जाएगा oil rate, again things will move towards normalcy, okay, और आपकी इकोनॉमी में भी इस पे असर पड़ेगा, ठीक है ना, पॉजिटिव रोल में. And other than that, they are coming out with another argument. They are saying that forget about repo rate, etc. Okay, this whole idea is getting redundant, and RBI has also introduced a new tool called standing deposit facility rate at 3.75% to absorb the excess liquidity. Right now, this 3.75%, okay, this rate will be provided to absorb the excess liquidity, and it will be provided for short term you can say amount. उसके लिए अभी applicable है ये. It is not applicable for the long term amount, okay. So short term, over the night, if one bank wants to deposit money in RBI, so they can do it and they'll get the interest rate of 3.75, okay. सिर्फ छोटे टाइम के लिए कर सकता है. So RBI is also providing this particular, you can say, tool and facility for the banks, and this is the way out to absorb the excess liquidity. This is one of the reason why it is not focusing on reverse repo rate or repo rate. इसलिए वो उन चीज़ों पे फोकस ही नहीं कर रहे हैं. वो कह रहे हैं कि हमारे पास other alternatives are available and they are using that. This is also the reason why RBI is not picking up or not increasing the interest rates. That's the point here. Now, another point that they are coming out with this is that monetary policy is very complex, okay. There are a whole lot of things that RBI have to look into. It is not just about interest rates and loan. You have to make sure that inflation is also controlled. There is a growth which you have to facilitate. You have to provide employment. You have to also manage your external balance, fiscal stability, etc., etc., etc. So these are the other responsibilities that RBI have to fulfill. It is not just about controlling the inflation or reducing the interest rate or increasing the interest rate. It is not that simple. Okay. So these are also the additional responsibilities that RBI have to perform, and you have to carry out all these things. So even if the RBI has to come out, continue the accommodative stance, it is very much in the role of RBI. बिल्कुल उनका रोल है अपनी इकोनॉमी को ग्रो करवाना, and we know the fact that we are still facing this trouble and we have not revived ourselves. Okay, अभी तक हम कोरोना से लड़ रहे हैं, ठीक है ना, अभी तक हम कोरोना से लड़ रहे हैं. So this is the point that you have to understand. Okay, this is what you have to understand. That's the reason why RBI is not increasing the interest rate. So we'll move to the next part now. Now red star over the Solomon Islands. Okay. So this is the news. This is really very important. So first of all, you should know the location of Solomon Island. So here we have, this is the location. Okay. So it's near Australia. And I hope you remember Australia and China. They both had differences. Okay. Both had differences. We know that AUKUS has been formed. Australia, UK, US as a military alliance. This is existing, okay, and the Quad is also existing. So in Quad as well, Australia is the common entity. This time China have signed this particular, you can say, agreement or treaty with Solomon Island, and by that it will allow China to use Solomon Island as a military base. Okay, this is sort of a security cooperation that both the countries are having. Now you need to understand it is a major shift in the geopolitics, because by that the competition or the enmity between Australia and China may increase. We have seen in the recent past how China warned Australia multiple times and how Australia also was not, you can say, deterred by that warning. तो इस टाइप की चीज़ें हुई हैं. AUKUS is already in existence, which is nothing short of a military alliance. Okay, so ये चीज़ यहाँ पे निकल के आई है. Now, why this base in Solomon Island is important from the perspective of China? So you need to understand one thing. You must have heard of China wants to do something in Taiwan. Okay, so basically China wants to keep a watch over the movement of US Navy in the region. तो US Navy जहाँ जहाँ से भी move कर रही है, China उस पर नज़र रखना चाहते हैं, ठीक है ना? They want to have a close watch over it. Okay, so in that to facilitate that particular activity, they want to have a base in Solomon Island, and they are going ahead with that. This is the point you have to understand. Okay, so basically China have its own security concern. We know that how the rivalry exists between US and China. So ये चीज़ यहाँ पे exist कर रही है. Now you need to understand one thing here. It is going to have impact on India as well. Okay, because in Somali, in that area, Solomon, you can say, island, they are having their base. In Djibouti as well, China is having its base. Okay, so China का एक base Djibouti में है और China का दूसरा base Solomon Island में हो जाएगा. So it means that indirectly you can say that on both sides of India, they are going to have their bases. Okay, so that's the point you have to understand. So definitely it's a concern, because you never know, anything can happen. Okay, it's about competition. So we'll move to the next part. आगे चलते हैं. So here we have this particular news, understanding the sovereign debt crisis in Sri Lanka. Okay, so here you should know that Sri Lanka has declared itself to be bankrupt. Okay, उन्होंने file कर दिया है. And they have said that we are at default of this foreign debt worth of 51 billion. Sri Lanka will not be able to pay that debt. Okay, so ये बात समझनी ज़रूरी है. Now sovereign debt refers to the debt issued or accumulated by any government. Okay, and government borrow money from the market, government borrow money from the international entities that are existing. So they are saying that they've usually they need to pay interest rate on such debt that they are taking. जो उधार ले रहे हैं उसमें इंटरेस्ट रेट देना पड़ता है, as simple as that. And historically they have this tendency to borrow the money from, you can say, different areas, and then you have to repay that. Okay, then you have to repay that. Now this debt can be taken in local currency as well as in foreign currency. It is always beneficial to take this debt in local currency because आपके लिए पे करना आसान होता है, ठीक है ना. But here Sri Lanka has to take debt for its crisis specifically for its fuel supply, for its food security. ये सारी चीज़ें श्रीलंका को import करनी पड़ रही हैं, and when you are importing it, it means that you have to take debt in foreign currency because payments will be made in foreign currency only. Okay, that's the point which is there. Apart from that, there are countries like China, okay, which are known to use this debt trap policy to fulfill its geopolitical gain. आप अपने जियोपॉलिटिकल गोल को फुलफिल करने के लिए डेट ट्रैप की पॉलिसी लेते हो, एंड चाइना डज दैट. वी नो दिस फैक्ट. दैट्स अगेन एन अलार्मिंग थिंग. ओके, नाउ another point that you have to understand in all this, what is the way out for Sri Lanka right now? So right now IMF is ready to come out with the package. they said that we will provide you the debt. हम आपको उधार दे देंगे, डॉलर दे देंगे थोड़ा बहुत, ठीक है ना. But you have to reform your system. Reforming the system means that Sri Lankan government might have to reduce the subsidies that they provide. They might have to completely give up the organic farming program that they implemented in their country. वो सब आपको इनको बंद करना पड़ेगा. Okay, because that will be the conditional amount that IMF is going to provide. Conditional, जब conditions fulfill होंगी तभी IMF पैसे देगा. That's the point you have to understand. Other than that, there is nothing much. Okay, on this page as well, no instance of hate speech at Delhi event. Okay, so first of all you need to understand, like, hate speech, we know multiple times it appears in news and it somehow creates trouble, or you can say divisions in the society. आपकी society के अंदर divisions आते हैं. Okay, but the question is that have we defined hate speech anywhere? क्या आपने कहीं पे hate speech को define किया है? That's the problem here, because we don't have a definition of hate speech. That's why this is the reason why we fail to counter it. ये भी एक reason है कि आप fail हो जाते हो उसको counter करने में, क्योंकि आपने किसी चीज़ को identify नहीं किया है, define ही नहीं किया है. It means that you will not be able to identify that. That's the concern. Okay. Other than that, there is nothing much. कुछ खास नहीं है यहाँ पे. So we'll move to the next part now. आगे चलते हैं. So here we have this page. Boeing to ground faulty Max simulator. Okay, so Navy looks for indigenous copter variant. So this is the way out. You have to go for indigenization, because in the long run यही आपको करना है, ठीक है ना. In the long run यही आपको करना है. Okay, that's the point which is there. You need to have your own capacity. You cannot rely on Russians or on Americans. Okay, this is the point that is there. Other than that, there is nothing much. We'll directly move to the international page. So Russia warns against NATO enlargement. Okay, so you need to know the recent development, because Sweden and Finland, they are earlier known to be neutral, but as they have seen the aggressiveness of Russia in the region, they want to become part of non-Atlantic Treaty Organization. ये countries भी NATO का part बनना चाहते हैं. Okay. So this is the concern, and right now Russians are warning them that if they dare to do anything like that, they have to pay the price. Okay, और इस टाइप की धमकियाँ दी जा रही हैं. So this is the new development that is taking place. Okay, क्या ये नेटो का एक्सपेंशन होगा? क्या रशिया जो है, जो थ्रेट कर रहा है हर दूसरे कंट्री को, will it be effective? So these are some of the concerns that we have to look into. Z backs zero COVID policy as Shanghai cases hit record high. Okay, so Shanghai, China has a zero, you can say, COVID policy, and to implement or to achieve the goal of zero COVID, they don't care about the human rights. Okay, so we have seen some of the human rights violation that take place to fight against corona in China. ऐसी चीज़ देखी गई है, ठीक है ना. So other than that there is nothing much, कुछ खास नहीं है यहाँ पे. Okay, so we'll move to this particular part now. Now government capex to spur jobs manufacturing. This is what finance minister is saying. Okay, so here finance minister is pointing towards this thing. As government is going with capital expenditure, सरकार आपकी कैपिटल एक्सपेंडिचर को बढ़ा रही है. ओके, कैपिटल एक्सपेंडिचर मीन्स दैट लाइक यू विल बी क्रिएटिंग एसेट्स, यू विल बी क्रिएटिंग एसेट्स. आप एसेट्स बनाओगे, फ्लाई ओवर, इंफ्रास्ट्रक्चर, you will be investing in that, you will be investing in that, and with that it is saying that it is going to boost your economy, boost your economy in one way, as that infrastructure that will be created. Okay, it will be used to boost your economy. आपकी इकोनॉमी को बूस्ट करने में वो इंफ्रास्ट्रक्चर का यूज होगा. दैट्स वन पार्ट हेयर. Other than that, the jobs that we are going to create, because infrastructure रातों रात नहीं बनता, there will be whole lot of human resource that will be used. Okay, there will be lot of job opportunities that will be created. So the outcome will be really very positive. And this at this time government expenditure is very important, public expenditure is important, because private investment is not picking up. Okay, private investment आपके यहाँ पे उतना पिक नहीं कर रहा है. ठीक है ना, नॉट पिकिंग अप, दैट्स द पॉइंट. ये एक पॉइंट है. तो अगर प्राइवेट इन्वेस्टमेंट पिक हो जाता तो कोई प्रॉब्लम नहीं थी, बट हेयर वी नो दैट प्राइवेट इन्वेस्टमेंट इज नॉट पिकिंग अप, एंड दैट्स अ मेजर कंसर्न. ओके, तो वो हमारे लिए एक मेजर कंसर्न है. सो ऑल दीज थिंग्स आर देयर, ऑल दीज थिंग्स आर देयर. सो दिस इज व्हाट वी हैव, दिस इज व्हाट वी हैव इन दिस पर्टिकुलर सेशन. I hope these sessions are adding value to your preparation. That's it for the day then. Thank you very much.